Captain Kirk's Star Trek comeback was inspired by the last heroes you'd expect. When Captain James T. Kirk made his long-awaited return to Star Trek, many fans assumed his comeback would honor his iconic swagger, his romantic bravado, or his legendary command of the Enterprise. But the inspiration behind this version of Kirk wasn't drawn from his own past glories. It came from a far more unexpected source. In fact, the new Kirk, as seen in Star Trek Strange New Worlds, owes as much to modern-day flawed heroes and grounded human storytelling as he does to the trailblazing legend William Shatner brought to life. It's easy to forget that Kirk has been a hero for nearly 60 years. Since 1966, he's represented the best of Starfleet's daring and the thrill of exploration. But bringing him back in the 2020s presented a major creative challenge. How do you honor one of science fiction's most mythic captains without simply turning him into a nostalgia act? The answer, it turns out, was to look outside of Star Trek, toward the kinds of heroes who have redefined what leadership and courage mean in today's storytelling landscape. Kirk's comeback. A reimagining, not a repetition. When Paul Wesley first stepped into Kirk's gold tunic in Strange New Worlds, it was clear this was not the same swaggering, perfectly confident hero of the 1960s. This Kirk was quieter, more introspective, even vulnerable. He questioned authority. He thought before acting. And that deliberate shift wasn't accidental. The writers didn't want to resurrect the space cowboy archetype, because modern audiences already have plenty of those. Instead, they looked to more layered and morally complex figures who lead not through bravado, but through empathy and intellect. In interviews, the Strange New Worlds team has cited influences like The Mandalorian's Din Djarin, Jack Reacher, and even Captain America, heroes who wrestle with personal codes of honor in morally gray worlds. These figures aren't defined by charm or ego. They're defined by restraint, patience, and inner strength. That's a profound change from the Kirk we met in the 1960s, who famously solved problems through improvisation and charisma. By modeling this new version on these quiet strength archetypes, Strange New Worlds made Kirk feel human again. He's still brave and confident, but there's a new awareness to him, a sense that command comes at a personal cost. That shift, in many ways, reflects how our definition of heroism has evolved over time. From cowboy to philosopher, the original Star Trek was born during the space race, an era that celebrated bold pioneers and fearless explorers. Kirk was Gene Roddenberry's idealized American hero, decisive, virile, and moral in a clear-cut universe of right and wrong. But today's audiences are different. We live in an age that questions systems, authority, and the cost of exploration itself. The creative minds behind Kirk's return knew that his personality had to adapt for that to resonate. This new Kirk carries himself more like Christopher Nolan's Batman or The Expanse's James Holden than the swaggering rogue of the past. He's calculating, emotionally intelligent, and less interested in domination than understanding. When he takes command, it's not because he's the loudest voice in the room. It's because he's the calmest. Even his interactions with Spock and Pike are reimagined through this lens. Instead of competing for command, as the original series often portrayed, Wesley's Kirk seeks collaboration. He's still bold, yes, but his boldness now comes from empathy, not ego. That subtle shift aligns him with the kind of heroism seen in leaders like Captain Picard and Michael Burnham. People who lead through listening, not just action. The unexpected heroes behind Kirk's new edge, but perhaps the most surprising inspirations come from outside Star Trek entirely. Paul Wesley's Kirk feels influenced by the grounded realism of modern military dramas and even sports films. Characters who embody discipline over flash. Think Top Gun, Maverick's later scenes, where maturity replaces recklessness. That's exactly the arc the new Kirk embodies. A man learning to balance ambition with wisdom,